guys. This is radio host Lady P, and this is the New Relationship Show. We are. Ooh, I'm not even hearing myself. We're starting a little late today, but we are so glad that you are able to join us today. We've got something really interesting to share with you. Oh, geez, I did something. Hold up. I really do have something to share with you, though. Believe me, I do. I got something to share. I do. I'm trying to share it to my page, and it won't let me. Let me see. Nope, it will not. It won't let me share it. Jesus. Wait, let me see. Nope, it's still. Oh, my goodness. I'm like, it should allow me. Let me see if that let me post it to my page. It probably didn't. I'm like, jeez. I don't know what's up with me and these technical issues. Let me see. Oh, it did post it. Okay. So now I got to go back and edit it and share. So, Naomi, I'm so glad that you were able to join me today. We had a plethora of issues with the show, which is why we're now starting. And okay, I did it. I saved it. Okay, so we can go. So it started off with me reaching out to Cousin Howard and him telling me, "Oh, I'm on the road. I'm like 2 hours out." I'm like, "Really? So if I didn't call you, you didn't tell me, you know?" And I'm like, "Well, you can still join. You have that. Oh, I just changed phones." So that's the first thing. So then I'm like, okay, it's fine. You know, we can go ahead on. And then Ben is sick. So we had our Team Pink contestant ready to go. He was trying to see if he would get better. And his voice is hoarse. He really just can't. So then I said, now, if it was really just Cousin Howard, I would just say Team Pink won and forget Cousin. I'm just saying. But because, Ben really is not feeling well, I'm not going to do that. It is the last Sunday of the month, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to call it a tie because each team won a week, so we'll call it a tie for the month of March. We'll start April, see what happens now. April, we're already not doing a show next week because next week is Easter. Now, I'm free, but, I'm thinking that people are going to be with family and, doing things like that. We just won't have a show next week, so we'll come back the 11th. And it's interesting because on the 10th, I'm getting my second vaccine. So when we come back on the 11th, I'll be fully inoculated. So that's a good thing. But yes, so we're starting a little late, but we are so glad that you guys joined us because we have a very interesting topic, and I need to put my screen so that I can see all the comments if there are any comments on this topic. So let me do that. Hopefully that'll show me everything. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. This is the New Relationship Show. I've got Naomi Hardy. Oh, Jesus. A relationship expert out of Houston. So she and I are going to discuss our topic of the week. We're going to discuss our advice letter. But we would like you guys to chime in if you have thoughts, comments, so that we can, have a dialogue. So tonight, our topic of the week is this. I did start recording. Okay, sorry. Topic of the week is this. How long should you wait after getting out of a long-term relationship before getting into another one or seriously dating? So, I'm going to let you talk on that first for me, Naomi.
Oh my. So many times we battle with talking from the place we're in versus talking the
True.
educational part of it. So I'm gonna be transparent and say that I'm struggling with that over this question.
Okay.
Because I've come out of a long term relationship, and so I have to look at it from a different way
Right.
now. It's what caused the long-term relationship to end
Okay.
in terms of how long we wait. Was it because, in my case, was it because of death? Or was it because you felt it was time for it to end? Or was it because the other person felt that it was a time for it to end? And I think those different scenarios bring on different emotions in terms of when it's safe to date again versus when you want to.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk about when it's safe. So I and the data backs it. It is safe when you have I have unpacked some of the reasons that contributed to the relationship ending on your part as well as the other person's part. And you can move into another relationship without carrying all that baggage because you've unpacked some of it. So for some people, that's a few months. For other people, that's a couple of years. So I am just, in this space, it's like, I haven't even thought, and granted, it's been 5 months. Well, not quite 5 months yet, but it's been 4.5 months for me. Mm-hmm. And another person is just it isn't even on my mind because it was death. But I can think of a long-term relationship that I ended before, where 4.5 months time would be like, you know what? I might want to go out and have dinner with somebody.
Okay.
So I think looking at when is it safe, depending on the situation, but when you've taken time to unpack some of the reasons that the relationship didn't work, and you're in a better position to understand not just what you want in a relationship, but what you don't want in a relationship.
Yeah.
And how you want to feel in a relationship and how you want to make the other person feel.
Gotcha.
So for me, that's just like a loaded question right now, where probably 5 months ago, I would have been like, well, da-da-da-da-da.
Right. True.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners said that they heard 3 years. For me, I don't think there's a magic number. Some experts say that you should wait a month for every year that you were in a relationship before jumping into another one. You know, if you ask one person, they may say, get out there immediately. You ask someone else, they say, well, wait 6 months minimum. And I know up to my last relationship that I was one of the ones it was quick. But I actually, this June will make 3 years that I ended the last relationship. And this is the longest from when I started dating as, you know, a young person that I have been single. And honestly, I think the longer that I'm single, the longer it'll be before I'm ready. Because, you know, it's certain, I mean, there are benefits to both being single and being in a relationship. And I think, you know, I'm enjoying the benefits of being single, you know, deciding I'm going here, I'm going there. You know, there's sometimes I'm like, wow, it would be nice to have someone to, you know, sit and watch a movie with. Then I'm like, yeah, but it come with drama. So that means that I'm not ready, because if I'm thinking like that, then it's really not a time, because if I'm thinking that what comes with it is drama, that's not really the right headspace to even, you know, go into that. We have another listener that says men and women are different. Men usually a few months, ladies longer. And, you know, that is a true, well, I can't say it's true. We don't have Cousin Howard to chime in. But I have found in my conversations, because even though I haven't gotten into a relationship, I have had conversations over this last time. And I've found that a lot of men, it's like the one, you know, we're having a conversation and they're telling me all this stuff about their ex. So obviously they're still going through it. And I'm like, you know, maybe you should take some time. But see, in their mind, they just want to, you know, forget about, which never works, because what happens is things come up and they really, truly have to be over the person. So one of the things in this, when I was doing some research, I found they said that, people have so many different opinions that it's really best to start by shutting the outside advice, because you'll have, oh girl, you got to get back out there. Shut out the outside advice and just focus on how you feel. If it's a breakup situation, focus on how you feel post breakup. If the relationship was long, obviously it meant a lot to you, otherwise it wouldn't have lasted that long. So you really have to take some time before signing up for the dating app and being ready to even venture out, because experts really compare getting over a relationship to a grieving process. So not even in that a relationship ended because someone passed away, but just the grieving for the actual relationship, and what it meant to you, that it's a process that takes time, and you can't put a time on grief. Everyone processes it differently. So I don't think it's a tried and true, well, it has to be this amount of time, or, and people are well-meaning, when they say that, because, but they don't understand that this is something that you yourself have to process individually, and it depends. Like, for me, I never thought it would be this, and it was funny because I remember having a conversation with my sister and her really good friend, who was like, we've adopted him as our brother, and, he was like, well, just take 3 months, and I'm like, well, dang, you trying to say, like, and say that I don't take any time. But then when he said that, I thought about it, and I said, it's true, because I have, I'm always in a, it's all, it'd be a short amount of time, and it's not necessarily that I'm pursuing stuff, but just folks just come out the woodwork. And I said, you know what, okay, I'm going to give it 3 months. I'm going to journal, see lessons learned and, things like that. But that 3 months has turned into almost 3 years. And I am okay with that, because I just know that if I'm thinking that the relationship comes with drama, I have more work to do before I'm ready, to do that. And one of the things, everyone has a unique situation. And so there's some things, though, that will, I guess, show you that you're ready. And this is to our listeners, which would be during the time, whatever time frame it is, that you've had a chance to learn a lot about yourself. You're ready to be a good partner. You're enjoying being alone, because a lot of times relationships happen because you're tired of being by yourself, and you have to enjoy being alone, spending time with yourself. You should enjoy that. You shouldn't want to have stuff to fill up the time, because if that's the case, then it's something else that you need to kind of do some self-reflection on. You feel happy with yourself. You no longer want your ex back in the case of a breakup. You can envision a different future. You've done the math. And in this case, they're suggesting 2 to 3 months for every year. Like I said, I don't think it should be it is situational. It depends on the reason the relationship ended. So many things that kind of goes into that. If there's a little voice telling you, maybe it's time to try, then maybe you try. If there were bad habits that you learned from it in the case of a breakup and you've improved those, okay. If you feel like you're 75%, I did something, 75% over it, if you're sure that you're not rebounding. And like I said, not to be hard on the guys, but I find that a lot of times, just from conversations that I've had over the past 2.5 years or so, that a lot of guys are like rebounding. That they're like, well, I got to hurry up and find somebody else before my ex. So why are you so concerned about what your ex is doing? But I find that a lot in men. And when you're at the point where you no longer compare anyone to your ex. And I know as I look back, even in this last relationship, what made it last so long with it, I was like, well, at least he's not as bad as, my ex in this area or that area, which is never a good reason. So, I mean, it just depends. First and foremost, it depends on the reason. secondly, it depends on what your soul searching has led you to, or where you are in that process of, soul searching. And has the thought even come to your mind? Because like you said, it hasn't even occurred to you. And honestly, like from time to time, it is, dropping my spirit when I'm around folks that's all coupled up and booed up. And then the next thought that'll come, but they probably have all these arguments and stuff. I don't want to. So that means, like I said, my mind ain't right there yet. And it's okay. It's okay. Because I think on an individual basis, you'll know when it's time. I don't think, they're well-meaning people that say, wow, you've been single so long, girl. It's okay, though. I'm okay. So, that's my thoughts on it. So, and like I said, we had our comments from our listeners, and, yeah, I understand. I hadn't heard the 3-year thing, but I guess I'm coming up on that. So is God trying to tell me it's time? God, is that what you say? I'm just saying. But, I don't know. Whenever, he'll let me know, I'll know. I'm not really pressing it, and it's different for everyone, And then it's kind of like, well, what is it that you want it for, So those are things, I guess questions that you have to ask yourself. Is it because you don't want to be by yourself? You need to spend some time by yourself. Is it because you're lonely? Well, it's a lot of people in relationships that are lonely, and that's worse than anything, to be in a relationship and still feel lonely. So, it's a lot to it. But honestly, I don't feel it's a tried and true number. It's depending on the reason why and where you are in your recovery from it, whatever the reason may be. Those would be your determining factors, not what any well-meaning friends say, oh, it's time, or oh, it's too early. It's really to just shut out all the noise, really, because, that doesn't help, because they can mean well, they can say whatever, but it really doesn't, they're not going to be doing the day in, day out. So, you agree? Yes? Okay.
I agree.
All right, so now, we ready to go into this letter?
Yes. Let's talk about this cheater.
Okay, so the letter goes like this. Dear Lady P, my husband cheated on me. I asked about certain things I was seeing, and he continued to lie until he was busted. We have very small children, so in the interest of that, I forgave him, and he told me what happened. I found out after I forgave him that he lied about the length of the affair and several details I asked him about regarding the affair. And so I feel like I forgave a lie. He says once I forgave him, that should be it, and I need to get over it. I find I can't get over it, and I think my marriage is over. What should I do? Signed, Can't Trust Him Again. So, I'm going to let you take that first.
Well, when I read this, I can't trust him again. That says it all. The word again says it all. So
okay. I didn't even think. Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Again, we can't trust him again. So this is a cycle, and just the clues, because when we get these, all we have is the one side of the letter,
True.
Which is often written out of a point of pain or frustration.
Mm-hmm.
So he cheated on you is the first thing, and you forgave him is the second thing. Those are the two things that I get out of this. He cheated on you and you forgave him. But when you found out there was more details about the cheat, you hated that you forgave him. If he cheated, he cheated. And if you forgive him for the cheat, so this is about forgiving him for the cheating or forgiving him about consistently lying to you?
Okay.
That's what began to open up for me. So we got some things going on here.
Right.
You forgive him for the cheating, but you're leaving him for the lie. Did you really forgive him for the cheating? He lied about it, but he kept on lying until he was busted. Your letter says that it was until he was busted. Right. So it sounds to me like you have a man that has cheated on you, and it was like, okay, if you cheated on me like this, I forgive you. But when I found out this is not the way you cheated on me, I can't forgive you and my marriage is over. That's what I'm seeing in this letter. Because of the length of the affair, the details of the affair. So evidently, after it was done, someone kept prodding. So you weren't satisfied with what you heard, even though you had forgiven them. Otherwise, the other details would have been laid to rest. And when it comes to cheating comes with lies.
True.
Cheating comes with lies. And so you did it for the sake of the little kids, well, the little kids are still there. So I would ask you, what are you going to do for the sake of you?
Okay.
Yeah. What are you going to do for the sake of you? Because you know who you're with, because the word again says it. You're with someone that has cheated, that lied, that until you cornered them, you called it busted. Did he really admit it? And he still didn't reveal everything. Your marriage is over when you say it's over. And you have to decide if you're going to fight for your marriage and what that looks like, if you are even able to get over the fact that this cheating affair is more than what you thought it was.
Okay.
Because that guilt and that shame that you walk around with, that internal guilt and that internal shame, it's not something that it's not healthy for you. So and that's what happens when you've been cheated on.
So why do you have the guilt if you've been cheated on?
She have the guilt and the shame. She's been cheated on. He lied to her. Yeah, she feels some internal shame.
Well,
she believed him.
I can see shame, but I don't see guilt on her part. You know
because
what I mean?
She's staying there. She's coming up with reasons to stay there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Not guilt because she did anything wrong, but guilt because she's coming up with reasons to justify. Okay, he said this. So you're going back and forth and you're feeling guilty. There is a feeling of guilt that's in there. And it's a guilt and it's a shame because of what you're going through. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm staying there for my kids. So I'm going to do this because of my little ones. That is just it's a hurting place to be. It's really a hurting place to be. So her question is, what should I do? I think you should really sit back and look at is this how you want to continue to live? Because you say it again. Right. Is this how you want to continue to live? And when it comes to your kids, because I know we do sacrifice for our kids, is it really in the best interest of the kids? I'm going to take it you've had a conversation with your husband, and he's probably said he's not going to do it again. And where does that leave you? Does that leave you satisfied with that answer? Or will you continue? Because, again, all I have is the letter.
Right.
Will you continue to probe and find out more stuff? How much do you have to find out to make the decision of what to do?
Okay. And see, for me, when I looked at the letter, honestly, this could have been me, let me see, maybe 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think that what she needs to do is, just really take the kids out of the equation and really think what will be best for her. Because the kids are going to grow, and things like that. Because the thing about it is when you make a decision like that, like for me now, because of different things in my past, I know that's a deal breaker. So it's not, I don't really care what your explanation is, what your reason is. I know myself, I can't get past that. Now, 10 years ago, I didn't know that. I tried and I couldn't get past it. But I know now, because of that situation, that if in any future relationship, if anything like that came up, it wouldn't be trust you again. I'm done. I'm sorry. Bye. See you. And I mean, because I know, just knowing myself, and maybe she's at the point where she doesn't quite know herself yet, but I know that that's something that would bug me, and me, I'd be like, okay, I want like all the details, even though I don't want them, but that would just be me. And then I wouldn't be able to get over it, because now once you told me, that's what I'd be thinking. Every time you're gone, every time you're late, every time I call you, I can't reach you. That's the first thought that goes through my mind. And, I think personally she needs to talk to someone that she can actually talk it through and really talk through how she feels. I don't like the I don't like where he said, once I forgave, that should be the end of it, and she needs to get over it. I don't like that, because that sounds to me like a manipulator who then now is going to lump all the other cheating into that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, personally, I don't like that, but because it's not my situation, I know what I would do in my situation, but I couldn't tell anyone else to do what I would do, because they have to deal with the consequences of what they choose. So in speaking with someone and just kind of laying everything out, getting everything on the line, why did you do this because you have young kids? Is it a financial issue? Is that because a lot of times, people make a decision to stay in a situation because of financial issues, and you have young kids, so we talking daycare, things like that are really expensive when the kids are young. And I just feel like talking with someone and just kind of talking it through so that she can really hear herself say it and understand where she really is with it, because this is something that could really cause her to get sick, just from worrying. And then if he's one of those, because that she needs to get over it, so then that's one of the dudes that just, look, you have to get over it. You already forgave me for this. And then you doing shady stuff, and then you've obviously done shady stuff before based on the letter, and it's just, you need to talk to someone that will hear you talk out everything, and you can hear yourself talk out everything. Not necessarily someone to ask their opinion of what you should do, but that could help you come to a conclusion on what you need to do and, get resolved in that. Because it sounds like it's a lot of wishy-washy back and forth, which would, I guess, tend to cause you to feel a certain way about the decision you regret, the forgiving and the staying, and you regret that, because after you've done that, then it's like the behavior hasn't changed. Because you would think that if someone did something and they were so concerned about the marriage or the relationship, they would change their behavior to over-assure, their spouse that something like that would never happen again. But it would seem like if this husband says, well, you just need to get over it, that he doesn't seem like the person that would, let me try to go over and above to make sure that my wife feels secure, that my wife has no reason to worry or wonder, because I've broken her trust and I need to try to get her trust back. And, a person that would say, get over it, doesn't seem like someone that would be worried about getting trust back. So that just, to me, leads to a very stressful home life. And then you have she said very small children. So, you know, that's all I could recommend.
Well, for me, Lady P, she's very clear about, in the interest of the kids, she forgave him.
So because she really wanted
not
to.
because she really wanted to, not because she wanted her marriage to work, not because he said he was sorry.
Okay.
She doesn't say in here anywhere that he says he was sorry. In fact, she says that he kept on about it until he was busted. He continued to lie until he was busted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything about him saying that he was sorry.
Oh,
I'm hearing her say, in the interest of the kids,
gotcha,
I forgave him.
Okay.
And now I feel like I forgave a lie because I'm finding out more about the relationship, which does mean that once you said I forgive you in the interest of the kids, somehow or another you found more stuff, and it's normally because you went digging, and I can't say that for sure, but because maybe you studied, asked questions, and you studied digging, and good, right, or wrong or indifferent, when you tell a man that, okay, I forgave you about it, but you're still digging and you're still trying to find out stuff, then a natural response is, I thought you forgave me for this. Why haven't we moved on? And it's a natural response. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say that puts him in a certain category because I know it's a natural response for a man to say. Doesn't make it right, but it's a natural response to say that. Okay. Now, she thought she could get over it, and she's finding out that she can't.
Okay.
I thought I could get over it, but I found out that I can't. And maybe that can't showed up because she kept digging for more information. And once she found out that it was a lie, is it now, even in the best interest of the kids, I can't do this.
Okay.
And so I agree with you. You need to spend some time unpacking that, sounding it out. Whether you're talking to a counselor or a coach, you do need to talk to someone to sound out what you're really saying.
Right.
Even if it's just regurgitating it to you, just allowing you to think out loud and just kind of hear what you're saying and what you're going through. Someone to kind of regurgitate to you what's coming out of your mind, so that this story that keeps developing in your head doesn't, mix reality with imaginary with hope.
Got you.
So,
yeah.
So
true.
that's what I was going through with the letter.
Got you. Yeah. Honestly, yes. So we are both on the same page. You do need to speak with someone that's in a capacity to help you work through really what your feelings are with this, because there's a lot going on here. I know that in my case, it was one of those, and I was so stupid, but that, like I said, it's 10 years ago, but I did one of these. Okay, so if you tell me all the details, then I can get over it, right? So then I got all the details, and I'm like, okay, I'm over it. And then, like, over time, because in me, it was still, it didn't make sense. So the conversation would come up, and then it went from, it was just, because of course, the whole explanation was it was my fault, because you were so that's why this happened. But it was just like this short thing, So then well, how many, look, now, this how bad I was. How many times did y'all do it? Because only about 5. So then I'm like, okay, well, 5 times, okay. And then as time went on, I guess he got sick of me asking more. Because every few days, I'd think about something, I asked something. So it came out that the whole 5 times it was an 18-month affair and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's different. That's different than, okay, we got together a few times. 18 months, I moved. You lived with her when I moved. I mean, just all this stuff. and it came out after time, and he tried that same junk. Oh, well, you forgave me for First of all, what I forgave you for was a thing when we was going through stuff, and it was like a 5-time thing. I didn't forgive you for no 18-month. I move, you live with her. You move here, she coming back for See, so to me, I can understand that there.
So you don't forgive for the cheat. You're forgiving for the level of the cheat.
Maybe that's what I did. Because I was like, okay, because I understood the patch that we were going through when supposedly the 5 times happened. And I understood what my part was in that patch. I understood that. But then now when you tell me that, and I'm like, okay, well, I understand because I'm going to take my part in it because I had my part in this patch that we were going through for this short period of time when this thing occurred. Okay. So, okay, we done. But then now when we find out that it wasn't just for that patch, that it lasted a long period of time, that at one point you was living with this child, and all this stuff. I'm like, well, that's not the same, you understand what I'm saying? So
I understand. I want the listeners to understand. I want the listeners to understand, but I also want the men that may be listening to this to understand as well. When we say we forgive you for cheating, it's based on the story of the cheat that you told us.
Right.
It's not based on the act of cheating itself.
Yeah,
that so makes sense. So if you left out some things,
and because to me that's why when I read this, I'm like, yeah, because it was so different. Because like I said, I knew that for those few months we did have a patch. I knew, so I was like, well, even though I didn't like the fact, okay, I know. I understand. But then now, when that turned out to be, it was this big long-term thing. And, when she came in town, she actually wanted him to bring her to my house so that they could have sex in my bed. And I'm thinking, why would you, he was just, I guess, but he was feeling like honesty is the best, because he just, I feel better now. I just want to unload all this stuff I did. But see, all this stuff you did in what we talked about, where I took my part in it, and so for me, so like I said, when I read this, I'm like, ooh, you're right, because that's exactly how I felt, and he felt like, well, since he told me the lit thing, and I said, okay, I forgive you, we can, move on, because I know what was going on with us during them few months. And then when I found, I'm like, hold up, and he tried that same stuff. Well, you forgave me for, that ain't what I forgave you for. And yeah, you're right. So for the men to really understand that, if you come up with this story of this is what happened, and, we forgive based on this story. If that story ain't true, the forgiveness is null and void because you told us a lie. We know you're a liar because he lied until he was busted. But now, and I'm not saying that's what happened with her situation, but I'm saying for me, that was my thing, it was like, okay, and it's like long drawn out conversations, and I'm like, okay, I understand because yes, I know, this is where we were in our relationship, okay, for this period of time, but I'm like, but that extended way past, way past that. So that's why I say I kind of understand, because when I read it, I'm like, this was me 10 years ago, and so honestly, two things for the men to understand, that it's not about the forgiving of the cheating, it's the story behind it, whatever story that may be, and if that turns out to be so far off the truth, it's not even close to reality, then you can't expect, and see, that is a manipulator. Well, you did forget, I'm just saying. So now you need to get over it. Really? So two things here for you, letter writer. Definitely speak to someone that you can kind of just talk through everything, all your feelings, your emotions, so that whatever decision you make, you can feel in your heart that's the right decision for you. And you won't feel like you were deceived, I guess, into making this decision. That you will know that this decision is based on all the facts and that you won't go back and forth. Because one thing I will say, as someone who, I'm trying to think, yeah, every this is so bad even to say this out loud, but every relationship, yeah, that I've been in, I've been the one that's made the decision when it's done. So it's, when you make that decision, you second guess yourself, like, did I make the right decision? As opposed to if the other person made the decision and they break up with you, you got to deal with it. But when you make the decision that, based on whatever reasons that you've decided to end the relationship, you will always kind of go back and second guess yourself, and did you make the right decision? So in talking with whomever you find to talk with, so that you can be resolved, that whatever decision that you make for yourself is your decision, and based on all the things that you talk through, I guess, is what, where I wanted to go on that. So.
And I want to add too, Lady P. We're on this show. The show always encourages you to go and talk to someone, and we know that in itself may cause some anxiety, may cause some frustration because you don't know who to go to or who to talk to.
True.
It may be a little unsettling because that's something that's a little uncomfortable, that you just, you just don't feel that.
Right.
I'm going to offer to you as well that you get your voice recorder and you record yourself.
That's a good idea.
And then you listen to yourself. I'm just going to offer that as well, because this show means very well when it asks you to go to talk to someone. But the reality of it is, you say, okay, I'll do that next week. Okay, I'll do that next week. Okay, you know what? I'm looking up therapists, and there's so many therapists. There's so many different kind of relation people out here.
True.
I don't know where to start. And then the next thing you know, 6 months has passed, and you haven't done anything about it.
True.
So I'm going to just offer that as an interim, that you take a voice recorder and you just sit back and you think out loud and let it come out. And that way you have secrecy that you need, you have the transparency that you need, and you can hear yourself. And that may open a window to say, you know what, after listening to myself, I really do need someone to talk to. Or after listening to myself, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm feeling. But it brings across that awareness. So I just want to offer that to the listeners, because we want to find someone at times, but we just don't know how. And so it becomes something that we put to the back.
That's true. That's an awesome suggestion. So, and most phones have a recording feature. And even if you don't want to listen back to it that same day, it records it. And I want to say it might tell you the day, that you recorded. So if it's a few months down the way, you go back and you listen to it. And then even to think, well, where am I now compared to where I was then? Maybe do another recording. Because, I've done that where, I was going through a list. So I recorded myself and I'm like, okay, this is where I am. And it was like a couple of years ago, and I went back and listened. I was like, wow. But that's what I was thinking on that particular day. So that's an awesome suggestion. So we definitely want to leave you with that because, sometimes it may be difficult to find the right person to talk to. And, sometimes it might be a little intimidating. And then, too, with COVID and having to do a lot of meetings online, it's different than the direct face-to-face in talking with someone. So try that, and, hopefully that will help you get some clarity on next steps, I guess, and where you should go from there. So awesome suggestion, Naomi.
Okay.
Do you have any further thoughts on the letter or on the topic tonight?
No. I just wish the letter writer, I wish you all the best in making the decision that's best for you.
Exactly. So with that, we thank you, everyone who has come on, who's listened to the station and heard the show, heard Jesus, and heard. Oh,
we heard it.
Look, we heard it. I said, and this is why we started doing the show earlier too, because I'm like, I'll be tired by 8:00. Obviously, it's after 8, so I'm tired. So everyone who has heard the show, you know, we do this for a reason because everyone is going through things, and you know, as relationship coaches and experts, we want to come with topics that will be something helpful. You know, you can always go back and listen. All our shows are on iHeartRadio. You can go listen to our different episodes. This one, you know, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, if you're listening to the station, we are on Facebook Live, on the New Relationship Show on at radio host Lady P. But you can go back and listen to different episodes because we do this because we're trying to help. And we're hoping that our dialogue, our discussion, the different ways that we look at things will help you with something you may be going through. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. Maybe a friend of yours has talked to you and you really weren't sure, you know, what to say. You know, everything is there for you. So we're here for you. We're wanting to be helpful. Now, we won't be here next week. It is Easter. So we will return on Sunday, April 11th. We should be matching up again, starting with the Battle of the Sexes, and then we're going to have another great topic and another letter. If you have a letter that you would like for us to discuss on the show, send it to radiohostladyp@gmail.com, and we would love to help you with any issues that you would like for us to discuss as a panel. And we thank you for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Have an awesome, awesome, awesome remainder of the evening, all right? Take
Good
care,
night.
everyone. Good night. So, guys, this is the end of our show. We hope that it was something helpful, and we hope that you enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you same time 2 weeks from now. You guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome remainder of the evening, all right? I'm signing out now. This has been the New Relationship Show, and I am your radio host, Lady P.
96.2, the smooth road. Grown Folks Radio with Lady P.